Hey guys, Artistic or Autistic here, bringing to you my favorite hoax story ever. A hoax that, in my opinion, is one of the few that were totally justified. Now, I first read the story years ago on a forum called the Absolute Right Water Cooler, which is a great site, by the way, fantastic community. I encourage any aspiring writers to go check it out. Link below. In fact, one of the forum members, James Macdonald, was the author who coordinated the Atlanta Nights project, and he was kind enough to provide me with some background information that helped me put this together. Though I do have to admit I cheated and checked Wikipedia too. Now, what you need to realize first is that PublishAmerica often went around telling anyone who would listen that it was a traditional publisher. For those of you who might not be certain as to what that entails, you sign up with the publisher in question, and you're paid royalties for the book sold. In the meantime, the publishing house is generally responsible for selling your book to the markets, advertising, getting people aware your work's out there, getting bookstores to buy copies. They work with the author because both sides are largely dependent on each other to make money. Now they get it onto the store shelves, and it can be a profitable relationship for both sides. PublishAmerica, on the other hand, well, I'm not going to outright refute their claim to traditional publishing, in part because they might sue me, but suffice to say, plenty of critics have claimed that they're essentially lying, and that they are in fact a vanity publisher. Basically, it means that they don't really waste money on advertising or selling the book to stores, or, well, even really printing them in bulk. Rather, they just make money off the author. See, PublishAmerica, as far as I know, generally just printed on demand, which is to say, if the author only sells 50 copies of his book, then the publishing house still profits, even though 40 of the books sold were bought by the author himself in a desperate bid to advertise his book from the little store down the street from his house. Hell, even if they just sold 10 books, it didn't matter, because they'd have hundreds of authors to mooch off of. They wouldn't be printing in bulk, but rather scamming in bulk. And of course, there were plenty of people who called them on this little fib, which was a large part of what led to the altercation in the first place. See, PublishAmerica once went on record outright insulting science fiction fantasy writers. Wikipedia suggests that this is because of the bulk of people who were claiming PublishAmerica were big fat liars were science fiction and fantasy writers, so, try to take down the credibility of your critics. Now, I'm not going to tell you the entire quote, but suffice to say, the publishing house claimed that these authors generally had lower writing quality, less skill, all because the field that they wrote in was less demanding to one's literary chops. Look, here's a lesson that will save your life one day. Never piss off fantasy and science fiction writers. Speaking as an amateur one, I can say that these are people who devote years to coming up with fiendish villains and crafting elaborate plots with Machiavellian twists and turns, which all considered makes them people you want to treat very nicely, especially a group of them. Of course, PA decided they didn't have anything to worry about, what with their money, their forum monkeys, and their small army of lawyers. And so a plan was hatched by the group of writers, a truly awesome one. See, one of PublishAmerica's claims was that it had a high quality standard, that it was very strict as to what manuscripts it would accept. Now, this would make perfect sense if they were a traditional publisher, because a traditional publisher would invest quite a bit of money into getting your book out to market, so it would need some serious quality control to make sure it was a worthy investment. If, on the other hand, you were a sham, then you'd want to get as many poor authors into your grasp as humanly possible, and probably wouldn't even bother glancing at the manuscript. Or if you did, you wouldn't care what it said. So these authors decided to put PublishAmerica's quality control team to the test by writing the worst book ever conceived, a book they entitled Atlanta Nights. Now, I really need to drive home just what deliberate drivel this book was. For one thing, each chapter was written by a different author, who were given a loose storyline, but otherwise no real direction or even style of setting. Sometimes a chapter was written by two different authors. Two of the chapters were written by different people who were on the same part of the story outline, so the same thing in each happened, only it was differently written. There was an entire chapter missing, making it skip from 20 right to 22. Two more of the chapters were word for word identical. One chapter was written by a computer program called Bonsai Story Generator, one that generated essentially random story text. Characters in this book changed in wild ways, like gender, or would die and then come back later, all without a reason why or even mention of the anomaly. It had terrible formatting, a spelling and grammar that would have put a high school English student to shame, and to top it all off, if you were to take the initials of the characters, it would spell out Publish America is a vanity press. So, once this atrocious blight on the literary world was finished, it was sent into Publish America, by an intermediary, of course, so as not to raise suspicion. And as you probably already guessed, Publish America accepted the book for publication. Now here the authors back down because they were advised by legal counsel that actually pursuing this farce any further could get them into some serious trouble. The authors revealed just what they had done to the public on the 23rd of January 2005. And on the 24th of January 2005, Publish America once more contacted the author to say, well guys, on even more strict review of your document than before, we have decided that it doesn't quite match up to the awesome standards that this totally legit traditional publishing house holds itself to when people are actually watching us. I mean, come on, even if you don't read books that much, you have to admit, this is awesome. This is a group of people who settled a decidedly legitimate gripe without legal action, without violence, without so much as swearing over a telephone connection. To the best of my knowledge, anyway. If more people settled their differences like this, the world would be a kookier but somewhat more peaceful place. Now, if you're interested in snagging a copy of the book, last I knew you could purchase it on lulu.com. The proceeds from the sales will go to the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America Emergency Medical Fund, which presumably is in case Publish America decides to resort to ninjas for their revenge. But it's nonetheless a worthy cause, and I'd encourage all of you to at least check it out. I mean, of course, this book is designed to be bad. At the very least, it might make a funny bit of dinner conversation when you're trying to convince your new girlfriend's extremely snobbish father that you are indeed a man of sophistication and taste. And to all the writers involved in this fantastic little plot, though it is 7 years late for me personally, awesome job. Good to know there are people out there who won't take crap lying down, but don't immediately haul out the firearms either. Once again, I encourage any aspiring writers to check out the Absolute Right Water Cooler, link below. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Now, I've decided to be a little more varied in my video subjects, so this isn't just going to be a gaming channel anymore, though I might wander back to that subject on occasion. In fact, I can think of a few more things that happened in 2005 worth mentioning, so my next episode will have to do with the issue of illegal margarine. Take care of yourself, and just remember, if anyone ever pisses you off, you don't have to hurt them. Just discredit the shit out of them.